First episode opens with two bad guys talking about how burning victims is easier than chopping them up. We see a skeleton in the fire. One man with a police badge asks what to do about it. The other one throws it in the fire and says, "All this is being scooped up and dumped in Lake Ontario where it belongs." Meanwhile, a 12-year-old girl, later identified as Bunny, is having a tea party with some dolls. An older girl knocks on her door, asks for smokes, and says Bunny had better not be playing with those fucking dolls. Bunny looks out the window and sees one of the bad guys from before. She puts her finger on her lips and closes the blinds. Elliot Stabler is drinking coffee in his kitchen when Belle knocks on the door. She tells him she needs him to go undercover. Belle explains that there is a trucking company smuggling drugs over the Canadian border, connected to a biker gang. Stabler isn't interested and thinks she should send Reyes, but changes his mind when Belle explains that the gang isn't just moving drugs, they're trafficking women, including underage girls. Stabler meets with the truck manager, Mark, with a fake ID for Henry Drummond. This is the same alias he used while undercover at the farm during Season 4. Mark asks if he has any restrictions and tells him about some guy who was deathly afraid of chickens. Mark asks about Mama Boone's farm, wondering if that's why Henry was arrested. Stabler says he did what he did. Mark says he is a second-chance employer and doesn't judge. He hires him. Mark shows Stabler around and introduces him to his brothers, Steve and Vic. Vic is one of the bad guys from the opening scene. Meanwhile, at the Organized Crime Bureau, Belle is briefing the other agents when Special Agent Bruce Shepard shows up and wants to know how they got their guy in. Shepard is an FBI liaison who wants to know everything about their operation. He also informs Belle that it is not the goal of the task force to shut down the trafficking of underage girls, only the biker gang delivering drugs. He wants them to shut down any surveillance and wants to know whether Stabler can handle the operation himself. Belle tells Shepard that Stabler can take care of himself. However, in her office, Belle tells Reyes and Jet that her gut says something is wrong with Shepard. She's only going along with his request for now, and wants them ready to move at a moment's notice. As Stabler prepares to go to work, he catches Bunny looking longingly at him, but Bunny disappears. Stabler also observes two guys exchange drugs for money, which he pretends not to see. Soon he is approached by a sex worker at the motel where the truckers rest for the night. She introduces herself as Sad Eyes and refuses to give him her real name. While resting in his rig, Stabler awakens to someone going through his stuff. He reaches out and grabs Bunny's wrist. Bunny stammers that she thought he was someone else. He tells her they're going for a walk. Bunny insists she can find her room herself and that she has learned her lesson. She insists Stabler give her $5 to get his baseball bat back, and when he gives it to her, she gives him a hug. As soon as Stabler has dropped Bunny off, he hears a woman screaming. He breaks into her room and finds a guy raping her. The guy insists he paid for the hour and can do what he wants. He and Stabler get physical, and it's broken up by Vic. Meanwhile, at home, Stabler's mother is making way too much food and says that whatever they don't eat, they'll freeze. Eli interrupts. He is in his uniform and nervous about his meeting. After Eli goes, Bernie goes on and on about Joe Jr. and how he should have been a cop like his father. She insists that she talks to Joe all the time and that he's in Switzerland, despite Randall telling her that no one has heard from Joe in months. A girl named Cricket makes Bunny return Stabler's wallet and apologize. They are interrupted by Stabler being called to the office. Mark and Vic are angry that Stabler ruined their business deal by beating up one of the major players. They make him and the guy he beat up ride with Vic to a secluded location. During the drive, a guy calling himself Lugnuts radios that he's out of smokes. Vic tells Stabler to make a pit stop and orders him to stay in the truck. Stabler watches as Vic gives Lugnuts a bunch of photos of the girls seen on site, and Lugnuts chooses one before paying him. When the guys get to the secluded area where they are supposed to meet their contacts, one of them notes the beat-up guy and shoots him in the head because he doesn't like messy. Then he burns the body. Later, as Vic and Stabler are loading boxes, Vic acknowledges how messed up that was. They are interrupted by their contact telling them to return on Friday. When they return, Stabler catches Bunny taking photos of him with a Polaroid camera. He tells her to have breakfast with him. Bunny tells Stabler that her mom is on a job but is coming back and has all sorts of stolen stuff she wants to sell. Vic happens by and yells at her to stop taking his stuff. Despite that interruption, Bunny is able to alert Stabler that Sad Eyes is missing. Later, Mark gives Stabler extra cash for keeping his cool during the execution he witnessed and asks him to do a solo job. Stabler meets with Belle, who gives him a secret phone and a photo of Eli in his uniform that Randall sent her. Stabler gives her the picture of Sad Eyes and tells her she's missing. Meanwhile, Sad Eyes awakens tied up on a truck next to a dead body. Vargas used facial recognition to find that Sad Eyes' real name was Luisa Diaz, but she had not been reported missing. Cricket promises Stabler that Bunny can be a lot, but her mom loves her. Stabler asks, "Did something happen to her?" Cricket says that there can't be that many bad apples out here. Reyes looks at photos of dirt and sees footprints in a pink clip. He calls Jet. Belle and Jet look at the photos and realize that this is the trading post. Vargas has bad news. He shows them 12 unidentified Jane Does in the area. There are 36 unsolved killings if he widens the map. There may be more, but local police don't all report. The women were tortured and sexually abused. So far, Vargas has found 20 victims killed by 11 men. Stabler lies under a truck and leaves Eli a message saying he loves him. Cricket calls for him. Bunny is missing. In the bathroom, Mark claims not to know where Bunny is and says men don't talk in restrooms. Stabler beats him up and demands to know where the child has been taken. Steve comes in. Stabler tells him to tell him where Bunny is. Vic sees Stabler take a Jeep and zooms off. Stabler arrives at a truck and breaks it open with a baseball bat. He finds Bunny bound and gagged in a drawer and frees her. Someone follows them. Stabler beats the guy up and Bunny throws him the bat. He finishes beating up the guy and puts Bunny in his back seat. Vic chases Stabler and Bunny in his truck. Stabler tells Bunny to stay down. He does an evasive move and gets rid of Vic. In the woods, he asks Bunny if she's okay. She wants to go home, and he says he'll get her somewhere safe. Vic speeds up and hits him from the side, making the Jeep flip over several times.